It's confirmed. We have multiple huge updates to go over today as NBA insider Dave McMenamin has just dropped a bombshell report surrounding Austin Reaves and his future in LA. We're going to break down exactly what that report is and discuss what it means going forward, but we also have another wild report surrounding Luka Doncic and not only the truth surrounding him signing his contract, but some details that are very crucial and has fans fired up. We're going to break all it down in this episode, folks. Before we get into it all, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Lakers content. So make sure to hit the subscribe button. You guys have been absolute beasts with the support. So thank you guys for that, folks. A lot to go over today. And just moments ago, we had a big report from Dave McMenamin surrounding Austin Reaves and his future in LA. And obviously, there's been some question marks about Reaves, how he fits alongside Luca, whether his future in LA is actually going to be, in Los Angeles, or whether the Lakers are going to trade him. Seems at this point they're going to hold on to him. But a brand new report has just dropped around 30 minutes ago from Dave McMenamin revealing that Austin Reaves is expected to re-sign with the Lakers, solidifying his long-term role alongside Luka Doncic per ESPN. His deal is projected to exceed $30 million per year. You can see this here. Here's the full quote. I think he will get $30 million plus, one executive told ESPN, echoing multiple front office sources who were asked about the next deal Reaves could command. The expectation from both that executive and others is that Reaves ultimately will return to LA, which would cement Reaves' role as a long-term running mate next to Luca in LA's backcourt. So it is official now at this point, or at least, all but official. Despite all the reports this offseason, a lot of rumblings about Luka Doncic getting traded, how he will fit in LA. It seems after the Luka extension, and of course the reports around LeBron James, all these different things, whether or not LeBron James is going to stay in LA, it seems that Luka Doncic is going to be paired up with Reaves for the foreseeable future, and that it's going to be over $30 million, which is definitely a pretty pricey, I guess a pretty pricey price tag here for Austin Reaves. But at the same time, it makes some sense, and we'll dive into, everything there. But you can see here, during the regular season, he averaged career highs in points and assists. In the first round against the Minnesota Timberwolves, he obviously struggled. We remember that. And yes, it was a bad matchup for him, going up against a bunch of lengthy wing defenders, some of the best, McDaniels, all those things. However, at the same time, he did struggle a little bit. But you can see here in the second paragraph, the Lakers would have an obvious void in their front court if Reaves were to leave, but his performance in the 2025 postseason wasn't what you want to see from a potential player earning over $30 million a year. And that's obviously going to be a big thing, is how he performs in the playoffs. And he says maybe Reaves can make this easy for LA by putting together a strong year in 25, then carrying it over to the playoffs. The playoffs, were a struggle for him, obviously, but not only that, if you guys watch the channel, I'm obviously not the biggest Austin Reaves fan. I do think he's a fantastic player, and I ultimately think he's going to be really great in LA. However, I'm not 100% sold on his fit alongside Luca. And now that they've had a year in the offseason to kind of get it going and, work together, I'm pretty confident. I'm, high on Reaves as a player. I'm just not necessarily sold on the fit just yet. We saw last year there were some interesting fits at times, and that's why I've been on record saying it might be decent to put Austin Reaves to the bench and then let Marcus Smart start for defense and things like that. All that being said, I do love Austin Reaves as a player. It's just sometimes I question the fit there. And looking at his stats, there's no denying, there's no questioning his stats. He's improved every single year since becoming, top 10 finalist and sixth man of the year in 2022. Obviously, his rookie year, 2023, was really solid. And then last year was his big breakout year, starting every single game, putting up 20 points, 6 assists. And obviously, for a period of time there, he was running the point guard and he was playing really well. He's really developed as a facilitator and as a passer. But what hasn't really changed is the amount of money, what has changed though, that was the amount of money he's going to get. And can he continue to put up 20 points a game? I think so. And I think alongside Luca, despite, my somewhat lack of belief based off last year, I do ultimately think he's going to continue to develop. And the upside with the $30 million contract, which is expensive, but again, that's the way contracts go these days, is the fact that you're obviously going to get someone who is going to be paired alongside Luca so they can continue to work together for years to come. And it really solidifies the backcourt. You have a Doncic, Reaves backcourt, and then you can build around that. And obviously, past LeBron's time, that's going to be a question. Who's the next star they acquire and things like that. But he does fit really, well overall. And again, Austin Reaves came from being a role player who fits in with everyone. So I assume, he can get back to, if he wants to be an off-ball guy, if they want him to, maybe take control more, there's a chance where they want him to take another step this year. And of course, it was going to be awkward last year with Luka Doncic. That's normal. It was always going to be a little bit, interesting. Yeah, especially because the trade was so out of nowhere, and Reaves is going from kind of running the one for a while, with LeBron and AD, obviously a forward and a big man, to running the two, sometimes one off with bench units, and then running off ball. And then obviously you have three guys who thrive on ball: Luka Doncic, Austin Reaves, and LeBron. So it was an interesting fit. But I think now that I love Austin Reaves as a player, I think he's going to be really, really good. I think it's going to be worth $30 million a year or over that. that'll obviously be yet to be seen. And there's a lot of people out there who think he won't be able to replicate his 20 points a game, especially with the, maybe decreased usage. I think it'll happen. But I'm curious to see how the starting lineup plays out and if he actually ends up being, a bench player at any point, just because of the fact that the way that Luka Doncic, operates, and the way this team operates right now, they need defenders first and foremost. And I'm not saying Austin Reaves is a bad defender. He's obviously not a great defender. We all know that if you watch the games. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. But we also have a report surrounding Luka Doncic. You can see this here. He's moved on, she told The Athletic. Lara Beth Seeger, Doncic's manager, said he's no longer carrying any baggage from his exit from Dallas. This is, of course, a quote from Lara, and then, of course, Dan Wokey Sports aggregated it. So here's a full quote. I think it was always known that when Luka was traded here, he's here now. Seeger said he wants to win where he is, and it's important that he wins and that we're working together with the team, so we're not waiting. His mindset has never been to hop around. His mindset is to win championships, which is obviously makes sense and lines up with what he said. He's not someone who just talks and then doesn't do anything. He signed basically as soon as it was realistic, right? And his mindset is to build where he is and to work together. And as long as you sign with the team, it's a marriage and you treat it like a marriage. And of course, there's gonna be good times, there's gonna be bad times. I don't think he ever thought I'm not signing my extension, which maybe if you're, Mavericks fan watching this video, it stings a little bit more because he obviously would have extended in Dallas, and that was never a question. Obviously, Nico Harrison questioned his work ethic, questioned his defensive abilities, all these different things. But we now have cornerstone of the franchise locked up for at least 3 years. But it seems like even then, if you want to look further into the future, he will extend beyond that, assuming everything goes well there, which is obviously really good. But you can see this here. This is a big season for him. One assistant coach from a Western Conference team said he'd better bring it in the playoffs because he's got to be good enough to pair it with Luka Doncic. And this is, of course, talking about Austin Reaves. I kind of just want to wrap it into Luka Doncic things. That's going to be a very crucial part as well. And obviously, Luka, he wants to be here. There's no questioning Luka Doncic's ability. Like, obviously, this isn't, it is a big season for Doncic, but it's not questioning his ability. But regarding Austin Reaves, like we just mentioned, and the playoffs, it is a big season for him. It's, if he ends up having a horrible year, maybe that extension doesn't go through. But again, it's all going to come down to Luka Doncic and Austin Reaves and how they ultimately, work together, because he is going to sign that extension. I think even if he has a bit of a down year, they're probably still going to give him that extension, which is, it is what it is, kind of how it works. But it's a huge year for him. It's also a huge year for Doncic because, he's obviously going to have to now, because he took a 3-year deal, play himself into a spot where that 3-year deal can transition into that 4 to 5 year deal worth over $400 million, right? So it's going to be interesting. Let us know down below, or let me know down below what your thoughts are on this. The good news is Luka Doncic wants to stay. He wants to be a Laker for life, and Austin Reaves seems wants to be a Laker for the foreseeable future as well. But it's going to be interesting. Executives of other teams, in this case a Western Conference team, said big season for Reaves, and it is going to be a huge season. One other thing I want to wrap up on is, obviously, we've been talking on the channel a lot about how the Lakers have a ton of expiring contracts. I just want to go over the Celtics trade yesterday. You can see here, it was basically Gorgeous Niang in 2 seconds for RJ Lewis, who was an undrafted guard, 6'7" guard, I believe it is. You can see here, this is why the Lakers haven't salary dumped anyone. They don't have the second-round picks, and clearly, to get off a guy like Niang, you have to give up 2 second-round picks. It's probably the reason Rob Pelinka hasn't traded off of any of their salary dump guys, whether that's Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleber, all these guys. Rui Hachimura probably has value. He definitely has value. But the Celtics had to give up Gorgeous Niang and then 2 second-round picks to save $6 million essentially on the Chris Boucher move, which they made immediately after, and saved over $50 million in luxury tax. So if you're Rob Pelinka, you probably don't want to give up the limited seconds you have and limited assets you have to get off of players when you could just, keep them and pay the extra little bit. But that'll wrap it up. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. Things are getting crazy, and it is official that LeBron James and that Austin Reaves and Luka Doncic will be backcourt running mates for the foreseeable future.